Hey, let's talk about Thomas Aquinas and natural law theory of ethics. Thomas Aquinas, let me start with this. Natural law theory in Thomas Aquinas is an accompaniment of a virtue theory. It's not that you have natural laws or virtues and vices. It's both for Aquinas. This is Aquinas' commentary on Aristotle's Ethics. It's real big. But also in Aquinas' own works, the Summa Theologia, there's sections on virtue and vice as well as sections on the natural law. Natural law theory and virtue theory are both structured teleologically. What matters, what makes things good and bad, is human nature. It's what's conducive to thriving. It's about the ends that human activities are directed toward. Acorns don't grow into tulips, and tulip bulbs don't grow into oak trees. The activities in the thing are directed at reaching a kind of maturation, reaching a kind of fullness of the potential. Virtue is strength. Do we have all the strength that we're capable of? Could we be stronger with a better character, with a better attitude towards fear, a better attitude towards pleasure, a better attitude towards honor? Natural law is also about strength. It's also about doing the things that make us stronger, that bind us together. But it's a bit different from virtue. Virtue ethics is about strength. Some people find virtue ethics to be incomplete. Aristotle tells us why we should want to be good, why we should want to be virtuous, generous, courageous. Why do we want these things? Because it makes us stronger in some way. But there's not really blame in Aristotle. I mean, there's shamefulness maybe, but there's not really not only was that weak, not only was that not good for you, but it was wicked. You ought not to have done that, and now you're deserving reproach because of it. There's a sense in which virtue ethics kind of naturalizes morality. Morality is about the kind of thing you are and what qualities befit that. What qualities are strengths in a thing like that. And that's good and that's insightful and it's helpful when we need to do some kind of transvaluation to check if the values we're receiving from our culture are actually valuable. But it does feel to some like it's missing something. It's missing the moral significance of individual actions. It's missing that not only is, say, murdering that person, not conducive to how one carries oneself, how one manages one's anger, and so on. But it was also just a shitty thing to do. Natural law theory takes the same kind of structure, where things are good and bad because of the way that it helps us reach our potential as humans, but it adds a level of significance, a level of real guilt and blame, a real ought to have, not just that makes you stronger, a real ought. So maybe natural law theory is providing that, right? Not just saying that, hey, you know what, being courageous makes you stronger, being temperate makes you stronger, but also taking that person's property is just wrong. Notice, though, that the content of the natural law theory is derived the same way the content of virtue theory is derived from ends, from human nature. What is it to be a good human? Humans have to live in society, right? Getting along socially, that's a value. That's something that's important for humanity. Health is a value. Life is a value. What do humans do? We make things. We reproduce. We all the things that we do as humans that are natural to who we are, the living, loving, fighting, reproducing, standing up for ourselves, all of that stuff, the right thing to do is the stuff that binds us together, the stuff that supports those values. And the wrong things to do are the ones that are really antisocial, that really tear at the fabric of society. So the content of natural law is derived the same way, the same teleological way as the content of virtue theory. The strength of it is a little different. It's not that it's just good, useful to be virtuous, but it's even kind of required. Okay, but what happens when an action has good and bad effects? What happens when we're wanting maybe to defend ourselves, and in the course of it, we're harming someone else? What happens if we're wanting to reduce someone's pain, and as a result, we're giving medication that hastens their demise? What do we do when we've got competing values and we feel like we need to act? It's hard to stay neutral on a moving train. We feel like we need to act, but there are bad consequences to acting. What do we do? Aquinas gives us what's known as the doctrine of double effect. Here's one description of it. It shows up a little differently in different thinkers, but I think this is the heart of it, okay? So, single action with multiple effects. There's a good effect and a bad effect. First, we're not allowed to do evil actions for the sake of a good outcome. Could I kill an innocent person for the sake of, using their organ, right? The classic organ donor example. Could I kill an innocent person to save 5 other lives? No, you can't just kill someone who's looking to you for care. That's absolutely a betrayal. That's absolutely wrong. That's absolutely it's an injustice to that person. You can't do evil in order to get good. But an action that is good or morally neutral, maybe defending yourself, right? Protecting yourself, maybe giving medication to reduce someone's pain. An action that's good or neutral can be done even though you anticipate a bad effect. So part of this may not do evil for the sake of good has to do with intentions. What you're after needs to be the good effect. You can't be after the bad effect. Let's just end this person's life. You can't be after the bad effect and justifying it by the presence of a good effect. That doesn't work, right? Your intention needs to be for the good, and the good needs to be significant. It needs to be more significant than the evil. You can't permit a great evil to achieve some minor good. That doesn't work. So, sorry, keep bumping you. So there's an element of scale here, right? The good has to be significant. And this is maybe part of intentions, maybe not. But it's important to think about proportionality, right? You can't just not care about the evil, right? Say I'm trying to save someone's life, rush them to the hospital, and it seems that the best way to do this is, what's an example? Do we want to skip a fare on public transit, or do we want to commandeer someone's vehicle? All right, we're making use of something that's not ours. Now, is driving this car, do we describe it as theft? We can't do evil for the sake of good, but I don't think it's exactly theft. We're driving, right? We're driving. We can't not care about the person's property just because we're after saving the life. If we can drive in such a way that we know the person will get their property back, that's better. If we can reduce the harm that's anticipated, we have an obligation to do that. So can you do something knowing that there's a bad effect? You can, if you're doing it for the good effect. The good effect is more important and kind of part of the action. You're not doing any injustice on your own, and you are reducing the harm that's caused as a result. Again, there is some interpretation, application of the natural laws, right? The natural law says I should support life. I should want there to be human life. I should support sociability. I should want us to get along with each other. I should want us to live in peace and harmony. I should support truth. I mean, I should support all these things, but what happens when, the situation seems to be calling for something that sacrifices one of these other values? It happens a lot. A utilitarian is going to say, just care about the outcomes. A natural law theorist is not going to just care about the outcomes, but they are going to care about the outcomes. It is important that we do good, that we produce good in this world.